Hi, this is Emmeli Johansson. I'm an associate trainer with Art2Ride, and this is the horse Jojje. He's a 6-year-old Frisian gelding. He has been trained according to Art2Ride for a month now by his owner, and this is the first time I'm working with him. She has only had him for a month, so training-wise he's still very young and clueless. This session was filmed in many short pieces, so there are parts missing, but I think the most important parts are still there. When I first saw Jojje, I thought he was huge. He had his head way up in the air, and he has a very big under neck. You can see that he spent a lot of time with his head up high. So he just appears to be a lot bigger than he really is. He's not that much bigger than me, and I'm not that tall. Usually I don't use a shambon right away. I like to try without, but in this case I just thought that I wasn't going to be able to. I'm not tall enough to be able to follow him up with my hands. So in this case the shambon really helps. And right now he's telling me that he doesn't have a clue about what I want from him. So all this overreaction you're seeing is just him trying to figure me out. When I'm working with a new horse, I only ask the horse to walk next to me, walk straight forward. And I have one rule, and that's don't lean against me. I move you, you don't move me. But that rule is hard for Jojje. He doesn't really accept that. And it's, as you can see, he's stretching down, walking nicely here. And at exactly this point, every time, he's pushing against me. He doesn't want to go next to the fence on that side, so he's trying to push me away from the fence. And when I'm using my whip, he overreacts. As you can see here. He wants to run away from it. So I have to be pretty firm and use my inside hand a lot to get him to yield away from me. So I put my hand closer to the bit and lift it up so that I can hold his head. And that's blocking him from moving towards me. So when I hold his head, I block him from pushing against me. And this is a guy that knows he's big, he knows he's strong, he knows that he can push me around. So I have to be stronger than him. You should never be mean to a horse, but if they don't listen when you whisper, you have to talk louder. So I'm doing this now, and hopefully he will listen to the whispering signals in the end. But as you can see, he's stretching really nice. So once he is relaxed and listens to me, he is stretching all by himself. So I don't even focus on the stretch here. I'm just focusing on getting him to walk where I want him to walk, and him to relax, being relaxed with me. Once he will stretch all on his own. And as you could see right there, I was actually finally able to get him to walk next to the fence. I had to hold him, but he did it without overreacting, without being afraid. So I was really happy with that. So we stopped just for a second to pet him, to tell him he was a good boy. He curls up a lot, which makes it a bit hard because he's avoiding the contact. And once again you can see him pushing pushing against me. And he managed to push me one step back, but then I quickly shortened the rein and I made him move away from me. And here you can see he's back to this beautiful stretch. I think this will be a beautiful horse once he's over his small issues. And I think this is small issues. He will be, you will be able to work them out pretty quickly, I think, if you just keep being firm and don't let him win all the time. Just be consistent with this, and he will be a great horse in a couple of months. But he's just a baby. He's trying. He's trying to learn how to behave. And this is just a beautiful breed, and he, especially when he's stretching down this nicely, he will be a beautiful horse. And now we're at the end, at the working hand in this lead, and you can see that he's not even trying to push me anymore. He's walking next to the fence, and that's the scary side, totally relaxed. It was all in his head, and this is right where I like to end it. He's such a good boy. This was just perfect, and as you can see, once he is relaxed, he's just stretching all on his own. So we changed lead here, and as with all horses, you're kind of starting from the from the beginning again when you change lead. So once again, he's trying to push me, and he's trying to decide where we're going. And I'm just doing the same as I did in the other lead. I'm asking him to move away from me, not the other way around. So I'm taking my inside hand close to the bit, holding it up and blocking him from pushing against me. Once he's relaxed, I'm just letting him out, letting him stretch down. And that's his reward. It's important that when you get what you want, you immediately let them stretch out and just leave them be. And once again, my goal is just to walk straight. I don't ask for any lateral movements. I just want him to walk straight, walk beside me, and let me lead the way. All these sideway movements you see is just because I have to move him away from me when he's trying to move me. Or maybe I should call it when he tries to push against me. So every time you see me doing, like here, a leg yield, that's because he was trying to push me. And he can be a really heavy guy, and he's using all his weight and leaning against me. So I really have to be very firm with him and actually use a lot of strength with him. But the goal is to not have to do this forever. I'm just gonna show him what we like for him to do, which isn't much, but for a horse that has never done this before, it's hard. And when they're young, they have a hard time even controlling their own body, and they lack a lot of balance. And for all of us who has tried to do work in hand, we know that it's a lot harder than it looks like. And here we are, Mr. Overreacting. I asked him to step away from me with the whip, and he was overreacting. But I just keep my calm and just keep on asking for the same thing. I don't let him get to me. I just keep on asking him to yield away from me and relax. And that's the fastest way to get back to relaxation and end the vicious circle of him just overreacting, you being scared, and it gets worse and worse and worse. So just stay calm. And if you can't stay calm, just stop. I know it's easier said than done, but if you get scared or angry even, just there's no point in keep going. Just stop and gather yourself for a moment. Give yourself a moment to just relax again. And if you're still a bit angry, just do something easy and then you're done for the day. Don't keep trying. Don't keep training a horse when you're angry, because that would never end well. And as I said, I know this is hard, but this is very important when you're training a horse. So just never train a horse when you're angry. You will regret it, trust me. And you can see how easily he curls up. And if we want to be for the Shambon, he would probably just be walking around with his head held up very high, and I would be chanceless to even do this with him. But he would avoid all contact. But he's now finally starting to relax. He's starting to work with me here. He curls up a lot, but he's also stretching. And he feels a lot more relaxed here. Oh, it pushed against me a little bit, but I just reminded him that I wouldn't let him do that. So he went straight back to a relaxed state. So let's see if he can finally take the scary side in a relaxed manner. It's not quite there yet, but he's getting better and better. And he needs to relieve himself, and we always let them. They always work better afterwards, so there's no point in pushing them. And here we finally are able to end in a relaxed state. And he's taking the scary side of the arena in a relaxed manner. So that's a perfect way to end the walking hand session in. We don't want to push him a lot. I just expect the relaxation and I got it. So I'm really happy. And so now we're off to the lunching part. And here's the first part of this is missing. So I worked with him a bit already here. And I have let him know that he's not allowed to walk all over me. And that his place is at the end of the lunch line. And he will listen to my whip with my leg aid, so to say. And all I ask for him here is also that he will be relaxed in a walk. I'm not asking for trot. He sometimes chooses for trot, but I don't ask for it. I just want him to walk forward and being relaxed and not pointing his hind end towards me. A lot of horses has never been lunged properly before, and I find that most of them just relax as soon as you have established the ground rules and they respect it. And once they know what you're asking for them, a lot of horses find that they actually like to work. It's nice to stretch and relax. I think this work will be easy for this horse. Remember, it's only been a month of training for him, and he's already really nice and relaxed and stretching really good. And here he shows all on his own to trot. And if you remember, he did that on the same spot as he started to lean against me in the working hand. So he kind of still spooks at the scary side, if you remember. But I just let him trot off No big deal. If you want to trot, you can trot. That's okay. But that doesn't mean you have to stop working. I still demand that the horse are out on the lunge line and that he doesn't run over me, and he stays out with his hind end. So just because he wants to trot, I don't stop working him. And then they go back to the walk pretty quickly, I find. And he's really nice and relaxed here. I'm really happy with him. And as I said many times, this horse will be beautiful, I think. Just give him a couple of months, a year or so, and he will be absolutely beautiful. We're actually working him in the cavesson here. I like to do that especially with young horses, to spare their mounts a bit. Especially with this one who seemed to have some issues in his mouth. He's being checked out by the vet next week, I think. So now he's giving me exactly what I wanted. He's walking straight. He's being relaxed. He's following my lead. There are no problems left. No issues. He's not fighting me anymore. And this is just lovely. And this is exactly where you're supposed to end. When you get what you want, the horse is relaxed. Don't do anything more, just stop. So here we stopped and changed to the other direction. And in this direction he likes to walk into the middle. So I have to be pretty firm with him that I'll want him to stay out on the lunge line. But I'm trying to make it easier for him by using a pretty short line and walking pretty closely to him. And he doesn't really listen to me here, because I ask with my whip and he doesn't really listen. So I have to be a little bit firmer with him, and then he starts to trot. You can see me pointing here with the whip and he's just ignoring it. So yeah, you can see that again. He's trying to walk into me, so I have to shorten the line a bit and ask him to step out. I haven't been focusing on the stretch at all this session. My only focus has been to set down some ground rules with him. But by doing that and by asking him to yield away from me, I'm actually getting him to stretch. When you show the horse that he doesn't have to be tense, you are in control, he can just relax. And when you get them to step under with their inside hind leg, they will stretch if there's nothing physically holding them back. Even if I don't focus on the stretch here, I still want the horse to stretch, because when the horse is stretching down and holding his head low, his body will release endorphins, which will make the horse calm and will make him feel good about himself. But it's important that you teach the horse to listen to you first, because if the horse doesn't even respect you and listens to you, you won't be able to teach him anything. And with a big horse like this, it can easily become dangerous. And right here he's throwing me a tantrum. I have a tendency to get a little bit too far in front of the horse, which allows them to turn on me. So that's something I have to work on. I also see that I let the line slack here and there, and that can also become dangerous, because if he would to turn into me, I have no control over him. So I have to be quick to shorten the lunge line when he turns towards me, and I'm not quick enough here. When you have a horse who acts like this, just let him run. Just keeping on the end of the lunge line and just keep asking him to move forward. He will act it out on his own. As you can see here, he had to jump a bit more before he can relax and give in to me. And it's the same thing here. I'm allowing him to run, I'm allowing him to jump around if he likes, but he's not allowed to step over me. And I don't think he will run around forever, so I'm just waiting until he starts to ask me to slow down again. And one thing I should have done here is to change the way I hold the lunge line a bit, so that I would be able to keep the contact better. A great way to keep the contact on the lunge line is to keep the lunge line in the same hand as you hold the whip, and then use the other hand to just hold the lunge line as it would be a rein. Then you can let the line slide through your hand, and you can keep the contact all the time with the horse's mouth. So that's the things I really need to work with, and I think it's a great way to see what you are doing right and what you're doing wrong by filming yourself. So I recommend to all of you to film yourself on a regular basis, because I'm learning so much by doing that. Here he's turning towards me, and you can see the long lunge line there. I'm not quick enough. Just a good thing that he's a nice horse, but he could just as easily have kicked me. So it's a big safety thing to be quick with the contact. Right now he's doing exactly what I wanted from the beginning. He's walking out on the lunge line. He listens to me. He's calm. He doesn't stretch all the way down, but I think he's not far from it. He accepts going through the scary side, the scary part of the arena. He always stretches a little bit better when he goes past his mommy who's filming. Just give him a couple more times and he will be absolutely perfect on the lunge line, I think. And this is where you stop. It's really important, especially when you're working with a young horse, that you stop as soon as they're doing the thing that you asked for. And I was really happy with him. He's a great horse. And now I will show you some riding, and this is actually my first time riding in almost 10 months. So this was really fun for me. I'm a little bit rusty, so be nice. And the same thing here, I'm just asking him to move forward. I'm just following him with my hands, keeping a steady contact. And I'm doing that by widening my hands when he goes up, and then I just follow him down. This is actually my first time riding a horse who goes behind the vertical after starting with Art2Ride. I've been lucky to only have horses who has never been overbent in the neck. And it's hard to ride a horse who is overbent because you don't get an honest contact from them. They constantly are avoiding the contact. And every time his head comes up, I'm just following him up with my hands, and I'm using my inside leg to ask him to step under a bit more with his inside hind leg. And he's not consistent in the stretch yet, so I have to do this over and over again. So I'm following him up, asking him to step under a bit more, and then following him down when he stretches. And the quicker you will be about this, the better it will be. So just give it lots and lots of practice. You can tell that he's a lot more used to being ridden than being worked from the ground, because when he's ridden he has no problem with going past the scary side, and he's not fighting me here. But I could feel that he was holding back a bit. He isn't as active as I would have wanted him to be. But I think that's a strength issue, and I think that with more work in hand and more lunging, he will soon be strong enough to work really good under a rider. But it's not that bad that you shouldn't ride him at all, but I think he will benefit a lot from more groundwork. So maybe do like 20 minutes, a half an hour of work in hand and lunging, and then just 5 minutes ride. You will feel when he's ready to do more. I didn't feel that his back came up during the riding session, but that can also change in just a couple of sessions for him. And this stretch right here is just perfect. This is what you should aim for. Try to do this all the time when you ride. That's the thing that will build him up. This horse is also, should I say, a little bit crooked. He kind of drops you to the left. Even if you're going in the right lead, he's dropping you to the left. But he is being checked out next week. This problem, I think, will solve itself with this kind of training. He might need some body work to help him out, but I think that if you keep doing this kind of training, the problem will go away. One of my horses, the ex-trotter, Musse, actually had this kind of problem. He used to drop me to the right. He was totally crooked. He looked like a banana. But with this training, he became almost straight. Before Art2Ride, I had to shorten my stirrups two holes on one side to keep me straight. But after doing Art2Ride, I didn't have to do that anymore. So I know this training can work. We were talking a bit about riding with a shambon and if it's okay or not. And I think it's totally okay to ride with a shambon. But you should think about if the horse should get stuck in the shambon and fall, you're actually sitting on the horse, so that can be quite dangerous. But you can use a heel twine or something to just tie the shambon up, so it won't be hanging far down between the front legs. And for that reason, we don't recommend you going on a trail ride with a shambon on. So stay in the arena if you're going to ride with a shambon. The shambon is also a great tool if you're a beginner doing Art2Ride, because if you have the shambon on, you can focus only on your seat and to feel the horse's movements without having to worry about what your hands are doing. He was getting a bit tired here, so I didn't even try to ask for a trot. I was just happy with what he gave me right here. A nice, relaxed walk. So there was really no point in asking for anything more. Here we kind of disagree on where to go. He wants to go to the right and I want to go to the left, so he kind of curls up and do a really sharp turn. We like to stay away from sharp turns like that because they're not really doing anything for the horse at this stage. Maybe when the horse is all the way up to collection, you can do turns like that, but we like to make it easy for the horse now. So we mostly do big circles and straight lines. I'm so happy with him now. This is gonna be a great horse and I hope that I will get a chance to see him again. We will end right here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time.